Okay, so I hope that this has resolved our connection issues. We're going to be talking about Chaos and Divinity today. This is something that I have gotten from the I Am books, which are amazing. I highly recommend them, the I Am Saint Germain books. I've taken that concept and I've gone deeper with it. I want water. Okay, so today's Chaos versus Divinity. Next week is how humans roll on Earth and humans roll with animals. You know, we have the Christian ideology of humans being at the top, ownership of the Earth, and that's a misunderstanding of the truth. And week 3 is mastery over your physical domain and manifestation, and 4 will be Unitopia with regards to physical reality. So we're going to talk about. I like that we are starting part 1 on September 1st too. I think that's really cute. And like I said, like this is all channeled. This is all like I woke up and I just started like writing this down, and this stuff that I've been going through and I've been thinking about, but I didn't realize how big the concepts were. So, okay. I wish I had read a certain book called Chaos. I think it's by James Gleick. James Gleick's one of my favorite authors. Yeah, James Gleick wrote a book called Chaos. I haven't read it, and I wish I had because I think that they would make this better. So keep an eye out in the future for future sermons on this, because I think that this is one of the first. Usually I'll do sermons on things and then I'll grow my conception of it and it'll just get deeper and deeper. Not that I'm ever wrong, just that I get to add things into it. So the idea, and I guess we're just going to talk, we're not going to really delve into the science behind this because like I said, like I understand it vaguely, but not as deep as I could. We're going to talk about the spiritual side of this because that's something that we can all understand without any kind of scientific backing. And we'll get the science to support it later. So the idea of the universe, generally speaking, is that we are moving toward entropy. Entropy is this idea that chaos persists, that everything is constantly breaking down into entropy and into chaos. And so we're moving from a structured reality into a chaotic one. And that's evident from our perspective on Earth. When we look around us, we see that that's true scientifically, and when we internalize that concept on a spiritual level, it gives us a very negative outlook. It actually gives us it's a very negative outlook, I believe. And it might not be negative for everyone. I'm not here to say that, you have to believe what I believe, but from my perspective, it gives a negative reality, a negative sense of understanding to me when I look around and I think, oh, well, everything's just breaking apart. Everything's just getting ruined. Everything's just, getting more chaotic. It doesn't matter how much you try or how much you learn or how much you grow. The world is moving toward chaos. And the reason why I know this isn't true, and what we're going to talk about today, is because of how bad that makes my spirit feel. So for me, this is something that needs to be looked at deeper. When I was depressed, I was an atheist nihilist who believed wholeheartedly in this entropic world where things just break down. This was reflected in my spiritual understanding of the world. I thought, well, so what? I'm going to grow up. I'm going to have kids who also hate their lives. Ugh. Speaking of breaking down, we should be working now. I just sort of restarted it. Okay, so the idea is that you are depressed and you're just going to get more depressed, and you're having trouble staying organized and you're just going to get less organized. And it's a really negative, defeatist way to view reality and to view the world. So, coming from a spiritual perspective, what we can do is start to shift our understanding of what chaos means and what entropy means and what our role in the universe is as divine beings. So, my belief is that when we align our spirits with the divine, I believe that the universe is made of this. This is all tricky stuff, and I hope that you know how deeply I consider these things. says offline. Maybe refresh our page. Yes. I'm sorry YouTube is being so lame. Did you try refreshing your screen? Okay. Hopefully everyone is in a place where they can see the stream. Oh, it says offline. Let me see here. This is lame. Alright. Hang on. It's offline for me now, even. Cannot access. Hang on, hang on. It's really funny. The sparkles are nice, and it is nice to have multiple options, it's true. It's really funny that this is happening when we're talking about things breaking down and not working. Which is funny. And humans' role. How can I apply my teachings in this situation? I don't know. Yeah, it's just not working. I don't know why. I'm gonna try restarting. It's really crashed. I've actually never seen it crash this badly. Which is funny. Thank you. Yeah, it says it can't access the stream key. Okay, well, I'm going to continue my sermon on, I'm just going to continue my sermon. It says it's streaming. Hopefully it's working. It's streaming on Instagram. Thank you for being patient with me. So the idea is that the universe is chaos. This has a negative effect on our psyche to believe. So when we talk about shifting our consciousness and shifting our reality and believing things that benefit us, for a lot of us, it doesn't benefit us to believe in the universe in this way. It doesn't benefit us to believe that the world is constantly breaking down. So when we look at the world and when we look, oh my gosh, it's still not working. It's just like not work. I've never seen it do this. It's amazing. All right, we're just on Instagram. When we look at the world not working like this and we see everything falling to bits and we think of it that way, it gives us a heavier, more negative viewpoint of the world, and it creates a sense of hopelessness and of depression that a lot of people will feel. The other way of looking at it, and this is something, like I said, has been taught in the I Am Saint Germain books, is that our consciousness actually is divine and is connected to source. So the I Am books talk about our higher self being the more divine energy, and that we let that flow through ourselves. When we're in the higher realms of vibration, we can create perfect order. And through this teaching of Saint Germain, the Saint Germain teachings tell you that in the higher realms, the ascended masters have perfection all about them. They have perfect clothes that never get dirty. They have perfectly clean spaces that never collect a speck of dust. Everything is in perfect order. And so when we think about this and we realize, you know, the deeper implications of divine consciousness, and also our very human responses to people when they are very well dressed in a clean way, we immediately respect them more. We have this feeling of reverence toward them. When we see a space that is very clean and organized, we immediately have reverence for it. And that's because a lot of times these spaces aren't actually filled with divinity. They're just, you know, organized in our way, and we're going to talk about that in future sermons, what the difference is. But when we see these things, it triggers in us a response of appreciation and awe. And I believe that's because we actually have in the higher realms this true sense of order and perfection. So when we think about perfection from our standpoint, that's certainly usually not going to be a state of disorder or chaos to us. Because we prefer order, because we reside, we thrive in spaces that are clean, because we thrive when we have clean new clothes, that we feel good in, because we thrive when things are organized, we can start to begin to understand that while the universe and our surroundings may be chaotic, that we ourselves are meant to be ordered. We ourselves are meant to be governed by a state of divine order. And this is true of our internal state and our external state. So I believe the universe has these two opposing forces. We can think of it as light and dark. We can think of it as, we go out of Unitopia into a state of understanding of the rainbow. But chaos versus order isn't something that we've necessarily thought about a lot, even in the dualistic sense. So it hasn't been a total brainwash for us. The variant gradient of chaos and order, where things are slightly disorganized or slightly ordered, that's going to be where we have patience and understanding for ourselves in that rainbow space. But to understand the barrier concepts of perfect order and perfect chaos, and that we reside somewhere in the middle there, and that the closer we move toward order, the higher and better we're going to feel. And this has to do with our mental states. The more ordered your mental state is, you're not thinking all these chaotic thoughts. This has to do with our physical state. When you have order in your space, when you have all of your things organized, when you can move through your space freely, all these concepts of feng shui and Marie Kondo, this is actually a very spiritual concept. And I never realized that until very recently. I have always been a very messy person. So when we're talking about this understanding of chaos and decay, I actually believe that as we create a more perfect sense of order in our consciousness through our own understanding of ourselves, organizing our own thoughts into thoughts that do not benefit us versus thoughts that do benefit us, and we clean up our conscious space in that way, and we clean up our physical space with, by ways of operating in a way that absolutely helps us and serves us as individuals, as divine beings who are not beings of chaos. It's a spectrum, and our divinity resides on the side of order. And so it's not to say that chaos isn't divine as well. It's simply the same as talking about pain. So when we talk about pain, which we do oftentimes in Unicult, we talk about the different barriers on the path of joy that you run into. So you run into a wall and it's like, oh, that's painful. You're not meant to stay there. You're meant to go back on the path of joy. I believe this is the same of chaos. When you start going into chaos, it's uncomfortable. It's designed to help you move toward a sense of order. Like I said, I have not figured out the cosmological implications of this yet, but I anticipate it eventually. What I can speak to is the understanding of cultivating a sense of strength in your own consciousness to cultivate perfection in your mind and in your surroundings. By focusing on perfection in your mind and in your surroundings, you will create a sense of order that helps you thrive in the most divine sense. The path toward this divinity, we're going to talk more about on the 4th week, but we'll go into it a little bit right now, is going to be up for debate in the next upcoming years. To create perfect order in your clothes, you can buy new clothes every day, but is that utopian? It's not, right? Because the people who make our clothes and the resources involved and all of that are not ideal. What's interesting about the I Am books and about the teachings of the Ascended Masters is that they can do everything without any technology. They can simply create perfect, sparkling garments that never get dirty or deteriorate from their own consciousness. That may be hard for us to understand or hard for us to believe, but I believe it's true, and I believe it's a good goal to work toward. Are we as humans in 2019 capable of creating perfect garments in the physical realm with just our thoughts alone? I don't think so. I'm willing to believe a lot of things, but I don't think we're there yet. I do think that in the upcoming years, we will have technology that can completely create, when you think of 3D printing and the technological advances that we can discover, I believe that we will come up with technological solutions to create perfection around us. A device like a Roomba is a step toward that goal, technologically speaking. Smart houses are a step toward that goal, technologically speaking. 3D printers are a step toward that goal, technologically speaking. Are these technologies in alignment with the good of all? No. They could be more in alignment with the good of all. And we will see technology moving toward that in the future. So today's sermon is mostly just about that concept of chaos and the divine, the cosmological, spiritual understanding that you as a being are not, you can choose to succumb to the chaos, or you can choose to step into your divine right as a being of ordered perfection and creating a sense of order from within and without in your world and in your life. I apologize for the terrible stream on YouTube. I'm not sure if I can save the Instagram and upload it. I'm going to try. Are they using their consciousness as technology? Technology is usually defined as something outside of themselves, outside of yourself. So technology is like a tool that is not part of you, that you use, that can like become, that you interact with. They are using their own consciousness only. I don't know how they do it exactly. It's like manifestation, but without the physical realm. I don't know how it works. No one's ever explained that to me. I think it's something we're just going to have to grow into and learn about to manifest perfection. One thing that I talked with this girl Lowleaf yesterday about is the fashion, like astral fashion, and really creating fashion in the astral realms. And what that means is decorating your astral body with different things, and then we will slowly start to pick up on that if you're sensitive. So there's so many potentials for what our consciousness can do, and how our consciousness interacts with the physical realm. This is something that I talked about in one of my very first YouTube videos about manifestation. Is that we think of this of magic as creating something out of nothing. We think of magic as being like, and in my video I use the example of a leprechaun. So you would just like poop, and you would just create a leprechaun with nothing. But here on Earth we have the ability to create a leprechaun, with our plastics and our clays and our tools and our drawings and our art supplies, so there's all these different ways that you can create something or the depiction of something. And if we just allow the physical world to be part of our magic, instead of cutting it out and saying this isn't magic, and we say, well, here's magic, I can create anything, and then you use the tools that are at hand that you have access to create those things, I do think that is divine and that is holy and that is high up. Why are you unfortunately a leprechaun? I like leprechauns. Like how Jesus walked on water. Yes. So thank you for joining me for Cam Church. Apologize for the technical difficulties. And next week we're going to be talking about humans' role on Earth. A lot of people believe that humans are a plague on the Earth. And a lot of people, when they're asked if they could wish for any one thing, they say the end of all humanity. And in Unicult, that's not what we believe. We believe that humans are actually here for the good of all. And we can talk about what that means next week. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining me for Cam Church. Uni bless. Oh, let's do our closing prayer. Spirit of Uni, we bless this space. We thank every viewer and individual who is affected by this broadcast to be blessed with the highest light. We call all the angels to bless every person and to create a beautiful Sunday with the most peaceful energy possible. Uni bless.